story of the day was, of course, the tens of thousands at this year's July 1st rally. Organisers said 400,000 protesters took part, although police said there were around 63,000 at the height of the rally. Later this evening, a core group of demonstrators led by People Power continued the protest to the central government's liaison offices in Weston. Crowd control was an issue for authorities, with people breaking through police lines to fill the road all the way to the central government offices of Tamar. We have more details on the day's events in this combined report from Tiananmen Smith and Tianli Tianmei.
A banner calling for an end to alleged collusion between the government and businesses led the way out of Victoria Park. The march started at 3 o'clock, and it took more than 2 hours for all the protesters to empty from the park onto the street. The line of demonstrators stretched as far as the eye could see. A sea of umbrellas punctuated by the banners flowed through Causeway Bay and down to Wan Chai. The way police control the movement and flow of these events is often a source of conflict. And while in some parts of the march it's perfectly peaceful, like here, in other parts, tempers are flaring. What began as a peaceful demonstration turned chaotic about 2 hours after the start. People broke through police lines in Causeway Bay near the Central Library. Some were pushed to the ground as officers tried to control the situation. Police pushed in vain to confine the protesters to the lanes meant for the march. The crowd soon swelled to take up the entire road. Followers of Falun Gong in white, seen here on the right side of the road, started their march and then stopped from time to time. Some chose to make their point by lying on the road. In Causeway Bay, traffic ground to a stop. Protesters marched across tram tracks, and cars and taxis had no choice but to wait for the crowd to pass. The police spokesman said the large number of people caused congestions on the roads as the march progressed very slowly. Tiananmen Smith, TVB News.
A new government and a long list of demands. They did not have a say in who should be the new leader of Hong Kong, but they wanted their voices heard. And that certainly rang through Causeway Bay and Wan Chai this sweltering summer afternoon. Some are not pinning much hope on the new chief executive, Leung Chun-ying.
He is only a doll and manipulated by the liaison office of China, and his honesty was still under suspicion. And we think that he is not capable and legitimate to become our leader in the coming 5 years. See whether his policy or even his background is not reliable. I believe that he will release some policies to improve our freedom of speech.
We think that he does not represent our all Hong Kong people because we don't have the power to vote, and we are here because we care about our society. Here, a huge portrait of Leung showered with paper money meant for the dead. Some portrayed the new CE as a wolf, others called him a liar. But not everyone agreed. A group who said they're housewives in support of Leung clashed with some rally participants, and police had to separate them. The housewives were escorted out of the crowd. The death-of-mainland activist Li Wangyang also featured prominently in today's rally. Another theme, vindication of the pro-democracy movement in Beijing in 1989. Paper tanks served as symbols of suppression. Trade unions want a review of the minimum wage of $28 an hour. Some harped back to the colonial days. Others are angry about the widening wealth gap.
And 2 weeks ago, the census showed that we have the biggest rich-poor gap in the developed world. So, you know, the pursuit of laissez-faire economics and whatever since handover has just resulted in a huge poverty gap.
There are banners of every kind, political parties, trade unions, and student organizations. And their demands touch on every aspect of life, from everyday issues like housing and the treatment of ethnic minorities to issues that affect the future of this city. Tianli Tianmei.